How's everybody doing?
Great.
Awesome. I'm going to share with you the number 2 most important piece of information you will ever hear. The first being that God loves you,
Yes.
and that He wants a relationship with you through His Son.
Yes.
But the second most valuable piece of information you will ever hear, I believe, is learning to communicate with people and relating to them according to their personality. Can I get an amen on that? Amen. That's right. All right, so what we're going to talk about here is the DISC model of human behavior, and I'm going to draw it in front of your very eyes, and I promise my arms will never leave my body. You can watch closely. But I'm going to draw the DISC model of human behavior, and we're going to understand 4 types of personalities. I asked you in the other room, have you ever wondered why people are different than you? Why people react different? Why can't everybody be normal like me? I'm going to tell you a bunch of stories, and Corey, if you could kind of keep my time, just give me a 10-minute warning at the time to end. I'm going to tell you a bunch of stories. I'm going to tell you how I sold $60,000 worth of furniture to a couple by using only 6 words. The 6 words are irrelevant. I could have said anything, but how I reacted to them is the main thing. So is it okay if we have a little bit of fun today?
Yes.
Awesome, we're going to have fun. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Typically, I need about 15 people in order to separate the groups, but we're going to do it without getting up. So you're going to be staying seated instead of getting up. There are 4 types of personalities: the D, the I, the S, and the C type. There are 47 unique blends of all 4 of those. And here's what I want you to remember. Just because you diagnose yourself today as a D, I, S, or a C does not mean that that is all that you are. So please remember that. I'm going to exaggerate a lot so you can cement it in your mind based on the different types of personalities. I'm going to tell you some celebrities who we all know, and politicians who we all know, of the different types of personalities. My title is How to Sell More by Understanding Personalities and Relating to them. It's all about relationships. How many of you would agree with it? All of life is about relationships, right? Somebody pick an object in this room. I don't care what it is, just pick an object. That picture. That picture is here because of relationships. From the artist to the seller, to the seller to the wholesaler, to the wholesaler to this hotel. You are here because of a relationship. I am here because of a relationship with Del Toro. All of life is about relationships. If we can help you have better relationships by communicating differently, see, the Bible says, husbands, love your wives, and wives, see to it that ye reverence your husband. Reverence means respect. So I was driving down the road one time, and I think weird thoughts when I drive, and I said, I wonder what happens to my wife when I tell her that I love her. Like, what happens inside of her when I tell her I love her? And she said, and I asked her when I got home, I said, honey, what happens inside of you when I say I love you? And she puts her hands up here, and she said, my heart goes, poof. Now, guys, when your wife or significant other says, I love you, does your heart go, pfft? Not really. The girls do. But the guys are like, yeah, cool. Thank you. But 2 weeks later, I overheard my wife at church overtelling 2 other ladies, I really respect what my husband does. And my heart went, huh? It just kind of went, it didn't go like this, like my wife, but I perked up, and it did something in here. And that's when I understood that we speak a different language. See, when I speak to my wife, I have to speak a foreign language to her, and it's called respect. Now, we all want respect and we all want love, but when she speaks to me, she speaks a foreign language to me. Us guys, we really don't know anything about love, right? But we do understand respect. You'll see 2 guys at a Starbucks, or you won't see 2 guys at a Starbucks, one hand on top of the other, and just talking, gazing lovingly in each other's eyes and say, I love your shirt, I love. But you will see 2 women doing that. I love your smile, by the way. You have a beautiful smile. But see, we speak differently. When my wife respects me, I feel connected. And if I'd ask you ladies, would you rather be understood or loved? I can almost guarantee you would say I would rather be understood, because being understood is being loved. Being respected for a man is being loved. So that's what kind of put me on this path of understanding personalities and communication and relationships. So I was selling furniture for Hank's Fine Furniture. Now, Hank was a personal friend of Sam Walton, Walmart guy, a little bit of money, okay? And it was in northwest Arkansas. And on this particular, well, they wanted me to stand about 12 feet away from the door, and when the clients would come in, they wanted me to stand like this. Hey, welcome to Hank's Fine Furniture. My name's Dave. How can I help you? Now, I'm a farm boy from Georgia. I'm laid back. I knew that was not going to work with my personality. So I asked him, can I just kind of shorten it up a little bit and be genuine? And he said, yeah, but we want you to be excited. On this particular day, a black shiny car comes pulling in very slowly, pulls into the parking slot, perfectly between the lines. Tires were straight. Okay? Now, I had determined in my years of sales that there are two kinds of people. You'll see today that there's 4 kinds of people, but back then there were only 2. They were the type of people you can play with and the type of people you can't play with. The type of people you play with, they come through the door and you say, hey, welcome to Hank's Fine Furniture, my name's Dave, and they'll say, oh, we're just looking, and they'll maintain eye contact and keep walking towards you. You can play with those people. The people that you can't play with will say, oh, we're just looking, and they'll walk away. They'll look down. They might even put their hand out, or we're just looking, kind of like they won't maintain that eye contact. So this guy and gal comes pulling into the driveway, perfectly parked perfectly, tires were straight, car was clean. So am I dealing somebody that I can play with or can't play with? What do you think? Can't play with. Just little things like that. Once you start understanding personalities and types, you can tell by the clothes they wear. So he sits in the car a little bit, communicates with his wife. He gets out, waits at the front of the car for his wife to come around, and holds her hand walking into the door. Now, an outgoing type personality would have been at the door already, say, come on, honey, we got to go buy furniture. It's late, okay? So they come into the door, and I say, hey, welcome to Hank's Fine Furniture. Real friendly, relaxed. The guy puts his hand out like this, stiffs arm me, looks away, and says, we're just looking. These are the 6 words that I said. They're not relevant. When you're ready, raise your hand. That's all I said. An hour later, he raises his hand. And I go over to him, I keep my distance. He comes over to me, puts his shoulder on my shoulder and says, here's the deal. A deal? He says, yeah. We sold our house with all the furniture in it. We bought a 5-bedroom house with no furniture. We want that. $60,000 worth of furniture. You know what kind of commission I got that day? By 6 words. Why? Because I connected with their personality. If I would have hit them with, hey, welcome to Hank's Fine Furniture, wouldn't have happened. Now I go back to my manager. I was only 3 weeks into the job. I knew sales. I didn't know furniture. But I knew sales and I knew people. I would go back to my manager and I said, these people bought a boatload of furniture. He said, I bet you I can steal them from you. Now you'll see, as I draw this out in just a little bit, that the D-type personalities are very competitive. I am a D-type personality. I said a very stupid thing that day. I said, I bet you can't. He goes out there and he tries. He walks up to the couple and he says, hey, I'm the manager here. I've been here for 13 years. He's been here for 3 weeks. If I can help you. And the wife, who hadn't said a word at that point, stopped him and said, Dave's our guy. Now, how did I sell $60,000 worth of furniture by using only 6 words? Understanding their personality. Leaders are readers. When you can read people's personalities, you can communicate. Just as my wife, when she communicates to me, she needs to communicate with a respect tone. When I communicate to my wife, I need to connect with her on a love tone. Husbands, love your wives. Wives, see to it that you respect your husbands. Okay? So, I'm going to draw the model of human behavior right here. Let's see. Outgoing and reserved. Now, outgoing people, listen closely. They have a fast-paced mind. Everything they do is fast-paced. They have an internal engine that sounds like this, like a motorcycle. From the time that they wake up to the time that they sleep, this is what's happening inside of an outgoing person. They're just they're in a hurry, but they don't know why. They're late for something, but they don't know what for. They're urgent, but they don't know what they're urgent for. Okay? Outgoing people are fast-paced. They make fast decisions. They make usually not always smart decisions. Okay? Reserved people are a little bit slower paced. Notice I did not say slow. I said slower paced. They make better decisions. They make wise decisions. They research. Not everything that glitters is gold to these people. They want to see what makes it glitter, what's beneath it. They do a lot of research. They have an internal engine that sounds like this. Listen very closely. And when they get excited, it sounds like this. Right? Knowing what you know now, just the little bit that I told you, are you more outgoing or reserved? If you're outgoing, please stand up. Okay, perfect. So you can sit back down. If you feel like you're more reserved, please stand up, just so I can get a good picture of everything. Okay? You're reserved? Wow, okay. All right. So remember that. So there are two questions that you need to remember to ask yourself as you're dealing with people, as they come into your store, as they come into your office, or as you go to them. Ask yourself, the first question is, are they more outgoing or reserved? You can tell by the way they drive. You can tell by the way they walk. You can tell by the way they put what color clothes they have on. Outgoing people will always walk with their head up and a little bit more with purpose. A reserved person will always walk a little bit more like just calmer. You can just see it. After a while, you can start seeing this. There's patterns. Now, let's do this. How many people has ever taken the DISC assessment in the room? Several? Okay, perfect. So there are task-oriented and then there are people-oriented. A task-oriented person will be outside raking their yard like this. Watch me. Very intently, all the while thinking, man, I hope our friendly neighbor doesn't come out and disturb me because I got to, oh boy, here she comes. Oh my goodness, you know. And pretty soon they're talking and he's like, yeah, your mom's good. How's your dog? I heard he was sick. Yeah, is everything okay with your daughter? Perfect. And if they keep talking, here's what's going to happen. The task-oriented person is going to say, can you hang on just a second? Let me go get another rake. Because if you're going to be yakking, you need to be working. The task has to get done, right? People-oriented person is going to be raking their yard like this. Where is a human? Why is are they sleeping in? Where is everybody? And all of a sudden the neighbor comes out and they start talking, the rake drops, they go to Starbucks, they go to the mall. 24 hours later they had a pile of fun, but the job did not get done. Knowing what you know now, would you say you are more task-oriented or people-oriented? If you're more task-oriented, raise your hand. If you are more people-oriented, raise your hand. Okay, perfect. Here's what we just did. Yes?
What happens when you're in between?
We'll cover that. We will cover that. Yeah. All right. So D-type personality is outgoing but task-oriented. Okay, because you're over on this side of the quadrant. Outgoing and people-oriented are I-type people. People-oriented and reserved are S-type, and I'm going to tell you what all these means. Reserved and task is a C-type personality. Okay? D-type, think Donald Trump. Love him or hate him, think Donald Trump. Does he get a lot of things done? Absolutely. There's a bunch of dead bodies behind him, though. He hurts people. D's are so focused on results that they forget that there's people in the meantime and that people have feelings, and they have the mentality like, hey, don't tell me about the labor pains, just show me the baby. Very, like bottom line oriented, result driven, okay? D stands for, I got a bunch of words here that that you can write down. Dominant, demanding, direct, determined, decisive, doer, director, dogmatic, and I'm going too fast. Dogmatic, dreamer, diligent, and their last one is defiant. D-type people can be very defiant. They're very competitive. If you tell me I can't do something, I'll do it. Because I'm a high D. I'm off the charts a high D. Okay? And if you want to, I'll give you the words later. About 10% of the world population is a D-type personality. Do you know why that is? Because of the grace of God. The world couldn't handle more of us. Okay? D-type make good administrators, athletes, boxers, builders, coaches, developers, directors, drill instructors, entrepreneurs, fighter pilots, foremen, lawyers, motivators, news anchors, race car drivers, and truck drivers. It's amazing. I am several things on this list. I didn't read you near all of them. Examples of a D-type personality is Donald Trump, Judge Judy, Dr. Phil, and Hillary Clinton. Now get this. 65% of the world is on the people side of the equation. 35% is on the task. Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton are on the task side of the equation. Think about what all they talk about at their debates. Either what they did or didn't do, or going to do or not going to do. If I was coaching them, the one I would be coaching is going to win. The person that connects with the majority of the people will win. If I was coaching Donald Trump, I'd tell him, play on this side a little bit more. If I was coaching Hillary Clinton, I would say, play on this side a little bit more. Because 65% of the world is over here. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Do you think Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump really care about you? They care about themselves because they're result-oriented. See, sometimes I think it's more about winning for them than it is about serving. Okay? So I'm just talking about the D-type personalities. Ds are very driven, decisive, dogmatic doers. If you want something done, get a D-type person to do it. Okay? Now the I-type people, notice the Ds are all about results. The I-type people, I want you to think of Dolly Parton. Hey y'all, how's everybody doing? And theme parks and fun. Okay? What do you get when you get a room full of I's? You get a party, right? What do you get a room full when you get a room full of D's? You get an autopsy. Somebody's going to die. Okay? The I-type person it stands for influencing. I'm going to read you a bunch of words for the I-type. Now, I'm also off the charts an I-type. Remember, there's a blend. We all have a blend. You're not just a D, you're not just an I, but we just don't have enough time to talk about the blend. Okay? Inspiring, influencing, inducing, impressive, interesting, impressionable, important, interchangeable, interested in people, imaginative, impulsive, last word is always kind of the stinger, illogical. My mom used to tell me 1,000,000 times to quit exaggerating. Some of you will get that about 10 o'clock or whatever time. 1,000,000 times to quit exaggerating. And I will make a fish this long look like this long. Little Johnny goes to school after the first day of school after summer. And the teacher says, okay, I want everybody to tell you what the summer was all about. And Johnny gets up and says, my dad took me catfish fishing. And we caught 47 catfish. Every single one of them were 47 inches long. Teacher says, now, Johnny, are you sure? He said, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. 47 of them, 47 inches long. Now, Johnny, if I told you that I was walking down the woods, teacher said, and out of nowhere a bear comes out and starts mauling me to death, and a little old chihuahua about that big comes out and tears the bear up and kills it, would you believe me? Yes, ma'am, that was my dog. What kind of personality do you think little Johnny had? An I-type personality. Imaginative. They exaggerate a lot. I-types, let's turn the page here. I-types, there's 25 to 30% of the world population are estimated to be the I-type. Examples, Jim Carrey, Will Smith, Oprah Winfrey, and Ellen DeGeneres. Basic needs are recognition, approval, and popularity. So if you're dealing with a high I-type client that's about to make a big purchase from you, are you going to be very matter of fact? Are you going to be very stern? Are you going to be very sober? No. You're going to create a party. You're going to go to Starbucks. You might even go to Cheesecake Factory. You might create an event. You might actually bring people together and create that excitement. Evoke that excitement out of them. I-type makes good actors, airline attendants, auctioneers. By the way, there were 3 things that I wanted to be when I was a kid. I told you I grew up on a farm. I wanted to be an auctioneer, I wanted to be a pilot, and a veterinarian. I'm everything except a veterinarian. At age 37, I got my auctioneer's license. 21, I got my pilot's license. And it's amazing. I didn't write this stuff. The stuff that's on here, I am. Broadcaster, I have a radio show. It's syndicated up here in Tampa, so you can listen to it on Saturday morning. Clowns, coaches, comedians, entertainers, evangelists, comedians. I used to drive through McDonald's and order mustard just to get people to laughing. That's a high I, okay? Evangelists, meeting planners, Peace Corps volunteers, politicians, preachers, public relations directors, public speakers, radio personalities, receptionists, reporters, salespeople, teachers, telemarketers, I'm not that, telephone operators and travel agents, and wedding consultants. What does wedding consultants do? It's all about people, and it's all about creating that environment. They love, love, love people. The S-type personality, so this is all about results. D-types are all about results. The I's are all about people. These people say what, these people say who. The S-type personalities, I want you to think of Mother Teresa. I love the S-type people. If I could change my personality, I would definitely become an S. They're very supportive. They're very sweet. They're very shy. They're status quo, más o menos, they're the hardest people to decide where to go out to eat with. You say, where would you like to eat? Oh, I don't care. Wherever you'd like. They will actually say yes to going to a restaurant they don't like because they'd rather hurt themselves than hurt you. That's why they're so sweet. They're so sweet. Now, when I do this in large corporations and there's a lot of office staff, and I usually have the D's standing up here in this corner, the I's and the S's and the C's, I go to them and I say, how many of you S's have your names on your staplers? Does anybody here have their name on things, staplers, notepads, stuff like that? You do? To us, especially to the D's, it looks like, man, you're pretty possessive about that little stapler. But that's not the reason. Let me help you a little bit. Understand why people put their names on things, especially S's. I'm going to come walking by your office and say, oh, here's a stapler. I need it. And I go over here and crunch it, and I put it down on my desk, and I forget about it. Because I'm not detail-oriented, and I really don't care as a D. She puts her names on things, so when I see it, I say, oh, this is, what is your name?
Arlene.
Arlene. This is Arlene's. I better take it back to her. That's why they put their name on it, because to them, S's hate confrontation. They hate confrontation. They will hurt themselves more than they will hurt themselves or others. And so she's putting her name on it to make so she doesn't have to come to me and say, can you bring me back my stapler? But you can keep it if you want to, but I do kind of need it. But if you need it, you can have it. That's kind of their personality. I love, love, love the S's. Now, a little bit later, I'm going to circle back around and go through all of the positives and negatives of each, because we all have strengths and we all have weaknesses, right? Okay. So the S is all about cooperation. When you think of an S, I want you to do like this way. It's all about cooperation. What do you get when you get a room full of S's? You get a campfire, everybody holding hands, singing Kumbaya. You got it. That's right. So when you're dealing with a high S type situation in sales, you're not going to be in their face and grilling them. You're going to be sitting like this at high level, and you're going to ask questions. You need to always ask questions in sales, but you're going to find out, how are you going to be using this, and how is it going to affect your family? And you want to think horizontal, relationships horizontal. They want to make sure everything is fair to everybody. Now, a C-type personality, before I understood C-type personalities, I thought that there were a group of people in the world designed by God to rain on my parade. You know what? I married one. So here's the deal. Question?
What does S represent?
S is stable. Yes, I'm sorry, I forgot to read you all of those. Thank you. Supportive, steady, stable, secure, sweet, submissive, shy, status quo, sentimental, sameness, and here's the stinger, sucker. We hate confrontation so much that we're scared to say no. And it pains my heart because these are the nicest people in the world, but you know what? They're the ones taken advantage of the most by my type personality and by the I type personality. The highest percentage of sexual abuse on women are S-type, simply because they don't want to hurt somebody else's feeling. They would rather hurt themselves. So if I could help you at all, if you're here in S, say no a little bit more and say it forcefully. There's nothing more powerful when an S says no and means it, because they're so yes people. They're so much of a yes type person. So prepare yourself to say no to a boss that keeps loading more and more responsibility on you. Say, you know what, I'll do it when I can, but right now I'm overwhelmed. And your D-type person will step back a little bit and say, you know what, I respect that you stood up to me. See, everybody else is kind of scared of these people. If you want to impress Donald Trump, stand up to him. If you want to impress me, challenge me. Because now I know we're back and forth, we're competing. All right? It's so important. If you're selling to a D-type person, challenge him. Not in his face because you want to make the sale, but let him know that, hey, you're not going to push me around. If you're selling to an I-type person, have fun. Make it exciting. Create an event. If you're selling to an S-type, be nice. Just be genuine. Notice how my voice changes when I say the word S. My whole psychology, my whole being changes. It comes natural. You just start talking a little bit more this way. Now, the C-type personalities, I was telling you that I thought there was a whole group of people that were there just to rain on my parade. See, I want to jump out of an airplane without a parachute sometime. Go ahead.
What are you going to tell us what kind of job?
Yes. Artists, childcare workers, counselors, customer service representatives, department heads, diplomats, flight attendants, funeral directors. Now that's a very telling one. They're there just to comfort and help and in the hardest time. That's why I love them. Human resource directors, librarians, managers, nurses, painters, pharmacists, pastors, planners, real estate agents. I work with a lot of churches on leadership. Most pastors have an S-type personality, and that's where it should be. But S-types are not leaders. They're not a dynamic, going forward, casting the vision, bringing the people. They want to take care of your heart. Okay? A lot of people ask me, what kind of personality was Jesus Christ? And I say he was a perfect balance. But he played on the D. Imagine when he went into the temple and he started overthrowing these things. I believe he was a very powerful man, not out of control, not angry, but very powerful. When he turned water into wine, I think he's like, this is going to blow their minds. I don't believe he was frivolous. I don't believe he was childish, but he had that playful attitude. When Lazarus died, this is touching. When Lazarus died, Mary came to him and said, Lord, if you'd have been here, he wouldn't have died. Jesus instantly recognized that she had a heart problem. And what did he do? He says he wept. 15 minutes later, Mary's sister, Martha, says the exact same thing. Lord, if you'd have been here, he wouldn't have died. What did Jesus do? He started dialogue with her and started asking her questions. And when I read that same question, two ladies, same question, I said, sign me up for that class. Because when somebody's in front of me that needs to be ministered to on the heart level, I want to be able to relate. When somebody has a question in their mind, see, the C's live out of their mind. My wife is off the charts a C. I can hear her thinking when she sleeps. I need her to live out of her heart once in a while. She needs me to live out of my mind. What she tells me a lot is, Dave, I need you to think. Yeah? I need you to think. Don't jump out of the plane without a parachute. It gets nasty. Messy. But once in a while, I want my wife to jump out of an airplane. I want her to live out of her heart and feelings. But she's like, why would you jump out of an airplane? They're so stinking logical. Okay? So a C-type person is, in my opinion, probably the most important person for me to surround myself with. Here's the deal. These people usually marry each other. We drive each other's nuts, but we end up marrying each other. These people usually end up marrying, not always, but most times if you're a high D, you're going to have an S. Or if you're a high I, you're going to have a C. Why? These people look at here and say, man, they have so much fun. I wish I could be like them. We look at these people and say, man, they got it together. In fact, the first time I saw my wife, she's from Honduras. She was one of my interpreters. And I saw her and I said, oh my goodness, this girl has it together. Not a hair out of place. Man, she walks perfectly. She's thin. She's beautiful. This girl has it together. You know what she said about me? She says, that's the guy I want because he loves people. He's always running around talking, touching people, and very active and fun-loving, I want that person. It's an amazing story. You can get on my Facebook and hear my podcast of how we met. The D and the S's look at each other. D look at S's and say, you're so nice. How do you do it? The S's look at the D's and say, you get so much stuff done. I want to be more like you. See, we complement each other. I'll never forget. My wife and I have an amazing story of how God brought us together. I'll be happy to share with you on the break. You would think, after our story, that we would not have any problems relating. We do. She's female, I'm male. She's headstrong, I'm extremely headstrong. She has the Latino culture, I have the Amish. By the way, I didn't tell you, I was raised Amish. Okay? Different cultures all over the place. Now, when we're dating, we're like this, man. We're connecting. I'm raising and lowering my personality to meet hers. But there's something happens after marriage. We forget to start relating. And we start doing this because opposites attract. But if we're not careful, opposites start attacking. Okay? And so I started noticing that around 5 o'clock, we start getting this little rub, this little aggravation. What happens at 5 o'clock? We both come home from work. She's a C, and to be honest with you, people drain a C's battery. She's around people all day long, okay? And she's training, we own a business together. She manages that. She's around people all day long. She comes home, she is emotionally bankrupt. I come home, I've been around people all day. I'm up here, man, let's go skydiving, let's jumping out, let's do all kinds of fun stuff, let's go out to eat. I say, honey, you want to go out to eat? She says, no. I hear, you don't want to do life with me. She thinks, what is this guy on? Why does he always have to be up here? And as an I, this is something that we need to caution with, and I You don't always have to be at a 10. It's not realistic to always be at a 10. Think of number 7. Drop it down a little bit. And so I called my Dr. Robert Rome, who I'm certified with, and he says, hey, we have this amazing story, but why do we always fight around 5 o'clock? And he said, it's simple. He says, you need to go to SeaWorld. And I'm like, cool, I've always wanted to go. And he says, no, not that SeaWorld. I need to go to her world. Here's what I did. I was up here bouncing off the wall. She was dead emotionally. 5 o'clock. She needs to raise up to my eye. I need to come down to her sea. And then we can connect, not like this. I'll never forget. I come home, walk through the door. Here she is on the couch. Vertical. Horizontal. Done. She gives me one eyeball and says, hey. I'm like, how's your day? And immediately I wanted to just start telling her about my day. And I said, oh, it was good. And I walk over and I sit down at her feet and I start rubbing her feet. Don't get any ideas, guys. I start rubbing her feet. Got her a glass of wine. About 10 minutes, she raises her elbow up. And this is what she said. I'll never forget it. This is a girl I have to twist her arm to take her out to eat. If I want to take her out on a Friday night date, I have to start working it on Monday. Seriously. They need information. So she raises up on one elbow and she says, maybe we could go out for dessert. It was too much to go out for dinner. I wanted to say, yeah, let's go. But I said, no, we don't have to. She said, yeah, I think we should. And we connected over a piece of chocolate cake, downtown Sarasota, like we've never connected before. When I go to SeaWorld and she goes to iWorld, then we can start relating. See how powerful this stuff is? When we understand personalities, we can connect. If I'm selling to a C-type person, I better come prepared with facts, figures, information, statistics. They like words like that. I could almost puke thinking about it because I'm not a detailed person. I see the big picture. Don't tell me about the labor pains, just show me the baby. That type of attitude. But when I sell to a C, you better know your facts and figures and never lie to anybody, but especially never lie to a C. They know more about your product than you do, especially since they have these things right here that can research it. They already know all the bad reviews. They already know what could go wrong with your product. The best thing you can do is, first thing, is say, Mrs. Smith, I would think it's important that you know that this product could go wrong and here's how it could go wrong. The first thing, because when you do that, they'll say, this guy is honest or this gal is honest, I can trust her or him. You'll build that relationship. See how powerful it is to understand your personalities. Let's go to what the C stands for. Cautious, competent, cognitive, careful, calculating, critical thinking, compliance wanting, conscientious, correct, conformist, consistent, and the stinger is cold. See, there are times that I felt like my wife was cold and indifferent to how I felt. But it was because she was emotionally drained. It was because I did not give her enough information. You want to drive a C nuts? Tell them there's 12 ways to a better life and only give them 10. It will drive them nuts. These people here, they say, they start thinking like they're procrastinators, or they start feeling like they might be procrastinators. But you know why they are? Because we don't give them enough information. So they put it on the back shelf until they get more information. Okay? Powerful, powerful stuff. These people here can't sleep if their checkbook is off 25 cents. A D will reach in their pocket and say, here's 25 cents, go to sleep. And I will start laughing. And I starts laughing and says, I can't believe y'all even balance your checkbook. The S's say, oh my goodness, can I bring you a casserole? Can I sing for you? I mean, I know this is a traumatic time, but can I help you through this process? Okay. The D's say, I want to change the world. The I's say, great, let me get the people, I'll get some pizza, and we'll get everybody together, and we'll have a marketing thing, and it'll be exciting. The S's do like this. Oh, Lord. Okay, so what do you want me to do? The C's will look at you with a hairy eyeball and say, have you completely lost your mind? Do you even have money in the account? Have you thought about this? See how powerful everybody is? The perfect four-man team is a high D, high I, high S, and a high C. 4 people on any project. I do a bridge building exercise. I give the 4 groups, the D's, I's, the C's, and the S's, half a ream of paper, bottle of water, and a roll of tape. Give them 15 minutes to build a bridge. The only rule is you're supposed to be able to stick your hand in through the span, and it has to hold the bottle of water. Who do you think's done first? D's. Their bridge is uglier than a mud fence. But it works, and it's done, and it's strong, and it's big. Think about Donald Trump. What's his favorite word?
Trust me.
Trust me. Huge, bigly. Have you heard that word, bigly? It's going to be bigly. We're going to win, and we're going to win bigly. And he's always doing his finger like this. And yeah. And his hands are always doing like this. Watch his hands. He communicates with his hands, and that's a D trait. They're very expressive with their hands, and they make wide, big movements. Yeah, exactly. So the D's get finished with their bridge first. It's done, boom, done. Give me the prize. The I's, they never finish. They end up with a giraffe or something. I mean, it's like this bridge has all kinds of stuff over it, glitter and painting and stuff. The S's, they get done right on time, but they waste about 5 minutes deciding who's going to be in charge. They say, well, you want to be in charge? No, not me. Why don't you? No, I don't have to. I'd rather you do it. You do it? Well, let's get a committee. Right? The C's, they will say, does anybody have an extra piece of paper? Let's draw this thing out. Let's plan it. Let's work it together. And they get done exactly on time. It is a perfect bridge. Everything is symmetrical. It works. And they're done on time. It's so interesting. They did a study on the 4 different types of group and said, okay, here's the scenario. You have a presentation, you put all your papers in order, put them into a briefcase, get in the car, drive, and out of nowhere, a car hits you off the side. Papers are flying everywhere. What is your response? The D's get in the person's grill and say, I can't believe, what are you, an idiot? You can't drive? I mean, come on, what's up with that? The I's kind of go over there to the other driver and say, oh my goodness, man, that was crazy. Are you okay? We almost got killed. They go back to the office and said, you won't believe what happened. We almost got killed. It was the coolest thing ever. That's what they said. The S's, the first thing out of their mouth was, I'm so sorry, it was my fault. Remember the scenario? A car comes out of nowhere, hits them on the side. I'm so sorry, it was my fault. Are you okay? No concern about themselves. That's why I love the S's. I wish I could be an S. The C's, they get out a notebook and they say, I got to get your name, number, driver's license, because somebody broke the rules. They're conscientious. They want correctness. So I told you that these are all about results, all about people, all about cooperation. All about cooperation, all about quality. They're task-oriented, both of them. These people want it quickly, and these people want it with quality. Okay? The weakness is they can tend to be harsh, dominating. See, I have a company where we have about 12 employees. My version of a great staff meeting is me walking through the office like this. Hey, good morning. How are you? Are everything good? Perfect. Are you going to do that job? Perfect. Okay, great. I think we had a great staff meeting. My people are like, what just happened? I've learned to just kind of delegate. Now, my tendency is to delegate and then write this down. Doing for other people what they can do for themselves may be the kindest way to kill their self-worth. Doing for other people what they can do for themselves may be the kindest way to kill their self-worth. Powerful stuff. Powerful stuff. D's need to learn to delegate. We can't do it all. We want to do it all ourselves, but we can't. We need each other. The I's biggest weakness is there's a guy in Sarasota that is the biggest I you've ever met. I mean, when he walks in the room, you feel it. He is just like, he's bigger than life. But I could say 10 words to him and crumble him down to a low depression. The issue with the I is they get their identity from people, from what people think. Okay? Now I want to say this, because I think most of us here are believers. Christ in us will temper our personalities. Okay? That is so important to understand. So environment will kind of change your personalities. And when I do the assessments, we give a real you who God created. I never try to change the real you. That would be playing God, and I'm not God, and I'm pretty sure none of you are. Right? So I never change who you are. I try to change the environment. I was in a situation one time where a high I-type person was stuck behind a desk. It was disaster. High I's need to be marketing. High S's need to be in sales because, man, you can trust an S. They'll never screw you over. S's in sales. These are the accountants, the lawyers, the dentists. Now, how many of you would trust a high I, me, to drill on your tooth? You know what it'd be like? It'd be like this right here. This is your head. This is my tool. It'd be like, hey, what's up, man? Yeah, how's your mom? Right? Oh, that's the wrong tooth. Sorry. Here's another. You know? But you would trust a high C. They're exact. They're laser focused. A high C makes great accountants, architects, artists, authors, bankers, bookkeepers, composers, computer programmers, consultants, dentists, engineers, finishing carpenters. I have a good friend from Pennsylvania who was building a house. His dad goes to my church. His dad is a high D, not detail. High C. My friend was in Pennsylvania, was building his house, and his dad-in-law comes up there to help him build the house. My friend finally told his dad-in-law, Dad, I don't need you to help build my house, because it didn't match up perfectly. And this is what he said. Wood putty can cover it to a C, but it's not right. Wood putty is not right. Okay? So it's all about quality. When you're dealing with a D in sales, get straight to the point. They want to answer to the question, what? What is it? What does it cost? And when can I have it? If I'm selling a vacuum cleaner to a D, it's like, dude, you need 5 of them. Not really, but you know, that mentality, just this is what you need. This is guaranteed to give you a big ROI. They don't care how much it is. Just we kind of see the big picture. When I'm selling a vacuum cleaner to the I might say something, man, you know what, this vacuum cleaner sucks. You get it? And I get, oh, that's cool, I love that, I'm going to use that. They get excited about glitter. I's get excited about anything. When I'm selling to an S, low, slow down, low, calm. How am I doing on time? Good? And so just very, very calm. The C-type person come armed with facts, figures, statistics. This could go wrong. That could go wrong. All right. So does anybody have any questions? I would just kind of open it up. Go ahead.
So I went through this once before, too, and it's really a challenge for me. At one point, I know it was a high D.
Okay.
Because of the rap to
Right.
over the years. Yeah, he's been working on it.
Yeah.
So I see me in several places.
Sure.
Not the S.
Right.
You know, right? The I and the C.
Yes.
Because the I of me likes to have fun.
Yeah.
But I put my work before the fun.
Sure.
So I've been working on changing that.
Right.
But that D and that C, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what do you say to that?
Well, here's the thing. We always react under pressure out of our second highest deal. Second highest. I'm a DI. D is my highest. I is my second highest. I'm off the charts on both of them. When I get under pressure, I want to go skydiving. I want to go scuba diving. I want to go out to eat. I want to forget about the pressure. I want to go get a massage. I want to, you know. So how do you react under pressure? And that will tell you what your highest, second highest one is. When we do the assessment, it's like a very high, average, low, very low, and yeah, it's opposite on that. And we have a midline, so anything that comes above the midline is what you say you are. So I am a DI because my S and C is like lower than whale poop. That's really low, by the way, think about it.
So that's interesting because you're talking about you're on either side of that question, but I'm also that person who doesn't see that because I'm just out of my mind.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm not the heartfelt person.
right.
I'm the grit factor.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I love that, by the way. That was really cool. Yeah. So you are this, and this in that order, correct? Yeah. So you get a lot of things done, but you use people, not use people, but you include people on bringing them together. See, the eyes are very powerful about, hey, let's have fun. Let's everybody come along. Okay.
That took time.
Yeah.
I'm just really getting in good with the letting go.
Right.
Not being in
Yeah.
control.
Yeah. Yeah. Think Bill Gates. How many times have y'all seen Bill Gates on his yacht partying? He does have a yacht, but he lives out of his brain. He'd rather be in a room by himself developing something else. Okay? So C's are all about quality. So yeah, you're exactly right. Once you start understanding yourself, you know, my second one is I, and this is my last one. I am really, really low. Who do I surround myself with? Right here. My office manager, off the charts. Not a penny moves on the planet without her knowing it. She has saved me so much money. Who do you think buys my plane tickets and my hotels and my rental cars? Right there. I'll end up in Atlanta when I'm supposed to be in Albuquerque. If I do. You need these types of people. And like I said, these type of people used to drive me nuts. But I appreciate them more than any other group because you know why? They keep me straight and narrow. They keep me focused.
That explains now. And I got what you said about your wife. You know, I read, the book Winner from Mars, Winner from Venus.
Yes.
I had a chance to be a journey with Robert once, and he talked about how when they come home, they just sort of go in their den and just shut down
Yeah.
the world. Well, I used to wonder what was wrong because that was my description of me.
Yeah.
I come in, I'm done, I'm drained.
Right.
I don't want to talk. I got nothing for you.
Right.
You know, and just leave me alone. And then when I'm ready, I come out of my office and
Right. Yeah.
then you can shut me up.
Yeah, that's right. But see, in a high I, they usually sleep in late in the morning because they don't want to miss anything the night before. High I's are habitually late sleepers. Go ahead.
What causes changes or shifts with if you're a particular one? Because I'm actually a SC.
Okay.
Is my dominant is S, my C is the next, and then it's I, and then D.
Okay. Yeah.
D is
Yeah.
very low.
Yeah. Your natural, not your nurture. Nurture is your environment, who your environment causes you to be. Your environment could be your office, your work, your church, your family, your marriage. All of this stuff of life can change you. I've taken the assessment 2 days apart from each other, but in the middle, there was something traumatic happened, and my basic who God made me was the same, but my environmental graph was different because your environment can change how people perceive you. It doesn't change who you really are. Now, over a period of time, you know, your basic you, as you mature and as you have more life challenges and it shapes you and molds you into who you are, you'll slowly see your basic graph, who God made you, to change. But you'll never like go from a high D to a high I. You know, you'll always be a D type person. And it's so important because think about Christ. He was able, and think about Paul in the New Testament. What was he? High D, powerful man. Think about Peter. He was a high I. He saw Jesus walking on the water, and he's like, dude, I want to do that. And he goes, steps out. Now, how many of you would just start walking on water? I mean, that's about as bad as skydiving, right? 10 minutes. Think about John. Never even called himself by name. It was always the other disciple or the person that Jesus loved, you know? Doubting Thomas. I want to throw a powerful thing out to you here. I am so glad Jesus chose Thomas to verify that he had risen again. Unless I place my finger and my hand in your side, I'm not going to believe. Think about that. He chose a person that lives, breathes, and dies on facts and figures and the truth and quality to verify that he really did rise. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
So, some people tell me that, you know, a well-balanced person is a good person, and I'm not going to deny that. But think about if Paul would have been well-balanced. We wouldn't have had the letters that he wrote. Think about Peter. We probably wouldn't have had the story about him walking on water or saying, hey, Lord, I'm going to serve you until the day you die, and here goes the rooster. You know? Think, when you take a D to the shooting range, this is how it happens. Picks up the gun, ready, aim, fire, boom. Now, where's my award? Okay? The eyes are like this. Ready, aim. How you doing? Aim. You're here too? Oh my goodness, how are you? It's all about people. When you take an S, it's ready. Ready, do I have everything? Everybody okay? I'm not going to hit anybody, am I? Ready, 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 ready. Take a C, it's this. Ready, aim, 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 aim. All about perfection. If I can tell anything to the C's, it doesn't have to be perfect. Let it go. You don't have to be perfect to start, but you have to start to be perfect. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Okay, any other questions? Did you have a question?
I understand how you can discern someone that you can play with and someone you can't play with.
Yes.
In regards to sales, but how do you discern whether they're the other types?
Perfect. So the first question that you're supposed to ask is, are they more outgoing or reserved? Second question is, are they more task-oriented or are they more people-oriented? A people-oriented person will walk into a hardware store like this. Hey, how you doing? Everybody's good? Perfect. Great. Good to see you. Nice. Could you tell me where the plumbing aisle is? A task-oriented person will walk into a hardware store like this, have a note in their hand. Now, if I put this store together, I would put the plumbing aisle over here because that makes more sense. Okay, so you can tell simply just by the way. I mean, it's a little bit harder than saying outgoing and reserved, but after a while, you can tell by the way they walk. If they're task-oriented, they're going to walk with their head down. I love going to the airports. I love going early so I can just watch people. Practice this stuff. Ask these questions. Are they more outgoing or reserved? And are they more task-oriented or people? So you can tell by the way that they, just watch today and tomorrow and the next 4 days, and you can starting to, decide. One more question.
So, if you are a CS person, which I believe I am, but the position that you're in kind of forces you to be above. How do you make that easy? It's not going to be an easy transition.
Right.
You're constantly having to go against what you naturally
Right.
are. What are there like steps or ways to just kind of help you do that where you're not messing up,
Right, yeah. So you're talking about the right bus, but maybe on the wrong seat. Okay? We see that a lot, and that's what's so powerful about this is it allows us to, being who you are, to put you in the environment. See, your environment that you're in should reflect who you really are. So if you're in an environment where you're not really allowed to be who you are and to maximize that, I would say maybe ask for a different position. And I'd be happy to talk with you a little bit more at the end and see, kind of what's going on there. Okay, one more. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm an IS, and now I say I'm low C. How can I balance all four? Do I do 50% of each or?
Yeah, once you know your blend, like I know that C is my lowest one, I go to SeaWorld. I force myself to, I go to the beach, take my notebook, and I start planning. I start writing down. I start living like a C does. But don't beat yourself up too much. If you're not a C, here's Zig Ziglar used to say this all the time, God don't make no junk. It's not good English, but it works. So if you're not a C, don't try to force yourself to be something that you're not. Delegate it out. And it doesn't mean that you shouldn't work on yourself to try to improve it, because balance is what we're striving for. But, I'm glad Paul wasn't balanced. I'm glad Thomas wasn't balanced. Go ahead.
I'm an ID as well, and I. But as far as in your day to day, how do you as far as making? I've heard different things, and I've used different things. As far as your tasks in your day to day,
Right.
How do you manage that? Because part of me is all right, it's got to be hour for hour. Then there's another part of me, like a coach told me, he's stop focusing with your personality, stop focusing on the specific tasks and just focus on when you have those spurts, when you're driven, when you're on your ups.
Right.
So when you're on your ups, just keep pushing. So how do you normally, because you're an idea as well,
Right.
how do you manage your tasks on a day-to-day?
The night before, I sit down and I write down what all I need to do the next day. Powerful things happen when you sleep on a list. Your subconscious mind will start working on that list and create solutions. When you wake up, it's not a foreign, oh my goodness, what do I have to do? You already know. It's a very powerful tool. I also use a principle called time blocking, time capsuling. So I pretend that I crawl into a 12-inch thick concrete capsule. I close the door. Not even my wife can enter that capsule. Because for the first hour, I'm writing a book. Second hour, I'm writing a manual. Second hour, I'm creating a new speech. That's a very powerful tool to keep you focused on what you need to do, because as a DI, man, we suffer from, oh look, squirrel syndrome. Yeah, we got one back there. All right. Yeah, we really suffer from that, and it really helps you to maintain that focus. Focus stands for follow one course until successful. Focus. Follow one course until successful. I think my time is up. Is there any other final question before I wrap it up? Okay. It was my pleasure to speak to you. I speak to thousands of people in a year's time, and I can say without a doubt that this group here today was by far the most recent. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you.